Thank the gentlelady, Mr. Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also was not here in the last Congress, but I will make some points I think that are worth mentioning. I also was at Gitmo, I think over a year ago, and we were scheduled to close it, as you all know, this past January. Interestingly, the day that I was there, speaking of the health concerns of the detainees, there was a couple detainees that were doing prep for a colonoscopy. Pat Murphy was there with me, so he can attest to this. So anybody that knows what preparation for a colonoscopy is and getting a colonoscopy exam should feel pretty relieved that our detainees are getting good preventative medicine down there at Gitmo. Aside from that, one needs to only look, I think, at what the basic point of this bill is, and that's to stop using the funds, to not use funds to transfer detainees from Gitmo to here. And why are we doing that? As Mr. Forbes, I think, eloquently said, we're doing that to force the issue of what the real goal of this amendment is, Mr. Forbes' amendment, that is, and that is for the administration to get it right. And I don't think, Ms. Sanchez, it's inappropriate to question the administration, and this is why. Whether or not Gitmo is a recruiting tool or not, the alternative of potentially having trials in the United States where we don't know how Miranda is going to be weighed in a court of law with evidence, whether or not federal judges are going to be able to sustain or overrule objections that they have, whether because a defendant has or has not been read their Miranda, a judge is going to be faced, as I've said in this committee before, with a very serious problem. Because a lot of the detainees potentially haven't been read their Miranda. But on the other hand, Eric Holder has testified before me on the Judiciary Committee and possibly in this committee, saying that these cases are going to be a slam dunk. The Gitmo is going to close in January. The administration said that these people are going to be guilty, and some of them are going to be put to death. And whether or not that's influencing a jury or not, or influencing a judge or not, remains to be seen. But my point is when we keep getting back to this recruiting magnet, as Admiral Mullen said, Mr. Andrews said, Eric Holder said it as well, the perception of Guantanamo Bay is this horrible place. What is the perception of having detainees brought to the United States of America, found not guilty, but the administration saying that they're going to be re-detained anyway? What kind of perception does that send to the global community? Where is the ACLU demanding justice in this regard? We don't have the system right yet. So all we're asking with this amendment is that we withhold funding. We have a state-of-the-art courtroom down there. We have a state-of-the-art facility that the American people have paid hundreds of millions of dollars for. Before we get into this discussion of perception of Gitmo, let's not forget our courts, our justice system, our rule of law, before we embarrass ourselves. And I was, by the way, Mr. Chairman, encouraged by Mr. Holder's statement last Sunday that he wants to revisit Miranda when it comes to these terrorists and to maybe have a different standard when it comes to Miranda. But as of right now, as of today, a federal judge that has an objection because the defendant was not read their Miranda has got to seriously consider not allowing any evidence after that objection, because this person was brought to the United States of America and our federal courts were not read their Miranda, and that judge should sustain an objection when somebody says that I object to any line of questioning after this because Miranda was not read.
Will the gentleman yield?